And as caravans of migrants arrive at the southern border by the thousands, Texas Governor Greg Abbott is sending asylum seekers by bus and plane north to cities like Chicago, New York City, and Denver. And our next guest is one of the Democratic mayors who formed a coalition to demand federal help to address the growing crisis. Denver Mayor Mike Johnston joins me now to discuss things further. Mayor, good to see you, and thanks a lot for being on.
Thank you so much for having me. Delighted to be here.
All right, so you've called Denver ground zero for the migrant crisis. How is Denver handling the flow of asylum seekers, and what are you faced with?
Yeah, right now, Denver is ground zero because we are the single largest recipient of migrants per capita of any city in America. Actually, more than twice as many migrants are coming to Denver as any other city. And that is, I think, a reason why the system currently isn't working. That's simply because we're the first big city north of El Paso. And so you put folks on a bus from El Paso, they go straight north on I-25, they end up in Denver. The good news is we know this is a solvable problem. We know how to solve the problem, but we know that what's currently happening is not working. The images you saw, what happens currently is about 10,000 people or so are contacted a day. They're apprehended. They're then released into the country, many of them on asylum claims. But when they arrive to Denver, it might take 3 or 4 years till that asylum case can get heard. And in the meantime, they don't have the ability to work. They don't have federal resources, and we don't have a plan for coordinated entry of these asylum seekers across the country. And that's really what we want the federal government to do, because we know there is a way to solve this. We did it with asylees from Afghanistan. We did it with asylees from Ukraine. The country can respond in a coordinated way, and we want to see America rise to this moment and do that here as well.
And Mayor, you have been very critical of Texas Governor Greg Abbott for sending migrants to cities, including yours, as we learn about the impact that this crisis has had on your city. What do you think Governor Abbott should be doing differently, since he's the one facing the border crisis on the front lines?
Yeah, we'd like to work together with Governor Abbott. I've reached out to him. We'll partner with other cities and states. We think there should be a coordinated national response for how to provide services. When we brought in 50,000 refugees from Ukraine just because they landed at JFK Airport in New York, the mayor of New York did not decide where all those Ukrainian refugees went. We had a coordinated federal plan that brought dollars with them, brought work authorization with them, and coordinated their entry in places where we knew they could be successful. We know we can do that now. And we think we're calling on the federal government to really take action to do that, because we know it can be solved and can be solved effectively. Of the more than 35,000 migrants that have arrived here in Denver, more than 99% of them we've successfully gotten into housing, into work, and successfully transitioned. But it doesn't make sense for more than 200,000 migrants in the city to just be in the country to be arriving in just 3 American cities, and that's what's happening right now.
And during a virtual meeting briefing with New York Mayor Eric Adams and Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, you said there are 3 areas that the federal government should act on. The first is work authorization. The second is federal support to support city budgets. And the third is a coordinated entry plan. Why are these 3 points a priority, especially for you?
I mean, the top priority really, DeMarco, is work authorization. What I find every day I talk to migrants in the city, they'll say, I only want one thing, Mr. Mayor, I just want a job. I'll also get calls every day from employers who say, we have open jobs, we'd love to hire those people, can we please hire them? Right now we have folks who want to work and employers who want to hire them, and a federal government standing in the way that says that they can. If we can get those folks expedited work authorization, they can support themselves, which is what they want to do most. And also, once we have that work authorization, then it's much easier for us to partner with other cities and states to say, okay, can Toledo take 500 people? Can Colorado Springs take 200? Can Cheyenne take 100? If folks arrive with the capacity to work, then we can coordinate their entry and coordinate their supports. Again, that's what we've done with other refugees, and it's been very effective. Even as far back in our own country when we had Hurricane Katrina, 50, 100,000 New Orleanians were transitioned out to cities around the country. We supported them very successfully because we did it together with a coordinated plan. We think the country should do that here as well.
And Mayor, we just heard you touch on some numbers in Trevor Alt's piece. You've also said that without federal help, city services would be impacted. What specific city services are you referring to? And do you already know where you would make the cuts?
We don't. We're having that hard conversation with our departments and our city right now. We'd like to avoid that problem. We think if the federal government can take action on the supplemental budget that President Biden has proposed, that would be $14 billion that could help meet this need. And so we want to avoid having to make those hard trade-offs, and we want the federal government to take action. If they don't, we'll be looking at a $160 million impact. That's 10% of our entire budget. So if you imagine cutting all of your city agencies by 10%, that would be historic cuts, larger than anything we've seen even in the recession times of the 2009 and 2010 cycle.
All right, and a final question for you. Your thoughts on how the Biden administration is handling this crisis?
I think they've pushed on the right issues, and that supplemental include the very problems we're having. We need more capacity to adjudicate these asylum claims faster. It can't take 4 years to figure out if someone needs asylum or not. We should do that in 30 days. They push for that. We need more resources for the cities. They pushed for that too. We asked Secretary Mayorkas to expand work authorization. He did critically, which allowed Venezuelans who arrived before July 31st to get work authorization. That helped us a lot in September and October. Now, all of the 4,000 people in our shelter tonight, none of them have arrived before July 31st. They're not eligible. So they've pushed in the right direction. We need Congress to help by expanding that work authorization, approving those federal dollars, and helping us create a plan for coordinated entry of migrants. And we think that we can show cities can succeed with those supports.
All right, Denver Mayor Mike Johnson, thanks a lot for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.